I think we've seen progress, haven't we? But we certainly haven't yet seen the solution. And I think really what we've got to do is just see incredible focus on this space over the next few years. A single conference and a single agreement is not going to solve all of our climate change issues. But what we are seeing is that we are now getting the focus we need on this. So whether it's the car makers or the wider COP part, I think we do have to take positive out of the last couple of weeks. But we do also have to note that this isn't it. We've got an enormous amount more to do.
I mean, I was speaking to ABB in the last couple of weeks as well, and they reckon they've got some of the fastest chargers on the planet. You might have a comment on that over at Pod Point as well. But clearly what we do need is infrastructure. If those of us who don't live in metropolitan areas are going to move forward and buy electric vehicles as our next cars, first of all, we need to be able to get them at a decent price. Secondly, we need to be able to charge them when we want and quickly as well. What's the progress on these fronts?
Well, I think immense progress is being made, but of course what we're not at is the position where we've ubiquitously got enough infrastructure and electric cars for everybody at all the price points. We've got an awful lot still to do there. So, you know, we've put out over 100,000 charging points so far, but that's really a drop in the ocean. We think in the UK alone, you're looking at needing something like 20 million charging points in order to get everybody driving electric vehicles. So a lot to do, but I think you've just got to look at how much progress has been made in the last 2 years. I think we were 24% of all new vehicles had a plug on them last month. So we are making immense progress here in the UK, but we've got an awful lot more to do. And that's true across the entire sort of climate change agenda, I think.
Erik, we're trying to work out, I think, how meaningful the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero actually is at this point. And I think it might be instructive just to go back to 2009 when you started Pod Point, just to ask you, how easy was it to have conversations with banks, with potential backers about funding for your project, which clearly was very early on a commitment to electrification and away from greenhouse gas emissions? Do you think the environment for funding has changed meaningfully, and what more needs to be done?
Yes, it has changed meaningfully. I remember going to early meetings to fund Pod Point, and I would start by explaining Pod Point is a mission-driven organisation. We want to make travel not damage the earth. That's the overarching reason we exist. And of course, we're going to do that by being a successful business at the same time. But the order there was important. Start with the mission, second with the business. And most people couldn't understand that at all in the early years. But as I go and talk to investors now, they understand that we've got to have this, business building happening hand in hand with things like climate agenda. And that is starting to be understood. But at the same time, we need an enormous flow of capital into not just electric vehicle charging, but all the elements of iterating our way out of the climate issues. So it started, but an enormous amount of change. But I would say it is accelerating. And when you see things not just improving, but the rate of change improving, that should give us all confidence, I think.